Welcome to Fragmental.
An amusing take on random topics. So we just got back from a trip, and it reminds me of a story when we were in Italy. Italy was a great trip, and we're coming back. We're in Rome, and we're waiting for the flight. And there's this older couple. My wife and I are sitting at in our seats, and there's this older couple. I think they're grandparents. There's this little fucking 8-year-old bastard just running around, screaming, just unattentive, I don't know, I can't even think of the right fucking word. And I turned to my wife and I said, "You see that right there? There's this fucking kid's running around." She's like, "Yeah." I go, "That's why every other country in the world hates America." Right there. Because of that little fucker. So I don't have any kids. My wife and I don't have any kids. But, Mike, you have...
Yeah, I have an abundance of kids, right?
Yeah.
I've got 4 kids.
Right.
So, but I can relate to you, though. So, I mean, first of all, I discipline my kids. So I see those kids running around. I think the same thing you did. I'm like, man, look at that fucker. My brother used to call it, like, there's birth control everywhere is the way he would put it. Like, that was what kept him from... that's what kept his pull-out game strong, I guess, is where I'll go with that. But...
Either wrap it or pull it, one of the two.
Well, or both.
Or both.
If you're really paranoid. I mean, it's a smart move, actually. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, you see those kids running around and you think the same thing. Like, somebody get a hold of that fucking kid.
Well, and I'm not... I mean, it's his grandparents. It looked like his grandparents, because if those two actually, that kid's fucking 8 years old, kudos to the him and her for popping an 8-year-old kid out. But it was obviously it was the grandparents, but it's not their responsibility to, I mean, well, yeah, I guess it is. I mean, I think it would be the kind of their responsibility too. I mean, they're grandparents. Just control your grandkid or your kid. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just I struggle with that, because there's some really good kids out there, but there's some really just fucking assholes.
Right. Not all kids are assholes, right, or pieces of shit. Right. I mean, I've got 4 of them. 3 of them are great. But no, I mean, they're not all bad. I mean, there's a lot of good things about kids, right? There's the bad stuff. There's the little asshole in the airport that nobody's parenting.
Right.
So he's going to make everybody's life hell. And as you said, hate America.
Yeah.
But some of them are really cool. I mean, I mentioned this in our last podcast. My kids are hilarious. So to me, they're not trying to be funny. Well, one of my daughters, I don't think she tries to be funny. She's just hilarious. She's mastered voice inflection. She's going to be a comedian, whether she knows it or not.
Are you going to force her into that?
No, she's doing a fine job on her own. I'll give you an example. So, I probably shouldn't tell the story, but I'm going to anyway. It might say more about me as a parent, but so my 2 daughters, my middle daughters, are sitting there and they're talking. And my 4-year-old, at this time, I think it was 4 and 6. So they're now 6 and 8. But the 4-year-old looked at the 6-year-old and said, "Hey, have you eaten a shit sandwich? Because your breath smells awful." And, it goes back to that. Like, I can't let them see me laugh, because that might be the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. But at the same time,
it's the funniest thing you heard in your life, coming from how old was she?
4 years old.
4-year-old, yeah.
And so I got to correct her, and I'm, on one hand, I'm like, first of all, you used it in the proper context, and I do appreciate that. But don't tell her she ate a shit sandwich.
Was the mother on, your wife?
She wasn't there for that, but she heard the story and she laughed. So my wife is actually worse than I am about laughing at these things. So believe it or not, you know how immature I am.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm the voice of maturity there, because my wife's laughing too hard.
That's a fucking shitstorm right there.
So, don't get me wrong, she is a much better parent than I am. But yeah, I mean, that's in those moments right there. I'm the one who can get it together quick enough to, hey, let's not say shit. You're 4 years old. Please don't repeat that in school. But they're kind of funny. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to having kids, right? So, I mean, pros, tax deductions. Each one is a tax deduction. So
nothing like putting a fucking $sign on your kid.
well, I'm Jewish.
Oh yeah,
so,
well that's true.
You know, each kid was a business proposition.
Makes perfect sense.
So
The first one wasn't.
No, she correct. She was less than planned. We'll go ahead and put it there. Excuse me, but yeah, I mean, so actually, my third daughter, the one that said her sister ate a shit sandwich, her birthday's day after Christmas. So we were in that kind of like, is she going to be after January 1 or are we going to get a tax deduction? So we had decided if she was born after January 1, her nickname would be our little disappointment. And
so on December 25th, not to cut you off, actually to cut you off, you're like, we need to induce.
So actually the doctor, maybe it was the 21st or something. The doctor's like, I think we should induce. What are you guys thinking? We're like, I mean, what are you thinking, Doc? She's like, I don't know, maybe December 26th. Greg sold. Thank you. We'll be there.
Yeah. And I called my tax attorney shortly thereafter.
Right. And then I high-fived my
your
CPA.
accountant.
Yeah, my accountant. We high-fived. Had a good cry together. It was a pretty exciting time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess, I mean, from we were talking about this earlier, of like pros and cons of having kids, and you know, you mentioned something about like having time on your hands, right? So and it's kind of funny because I don't feel like I have a whole lot of time to do stuff, but I'm filling it with a bunch of other shit. You know what I mean? It's like watching TV, going to the movies, going to dinner, traveling, you know, stuff like that. So, I mean, I guess the pro for not having kids is you're kind of free to do whatever you want. I do have 2 dogs though, so I mean, those are our kids, the 2 dogs.
Yeah.
But the pro of having 2 dogs is I can put them in a kennel when they're shitty. The con of having kids, and you can't really put them in a kennel because then social services usually kind of frowns on that.
Right.
So,
I mean, we used to use the cage, and I'm kidding. Please don't report me to Children's Services, whoever's listening.
Whether it's children, I'm trying to think of the acronym. So.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, thankfully.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, Dave asked me last time I went to Europe.
Yeah, when's the last time you went to Europe?
Fuck you, Dave. See, that's the con of having 4 kids. Neither my wife or I have left the country. So that even includes Niagara Falls. Yeah, we saw it from the shitty side of Buffalo. So.
Is that when you were in Syracuse?
So her and I didn't go at the same time. She went with her grandpa. I did go when I was in Syracuse.
Okay,
but again, I was on the shitty side.
Yeah, you want to say shit.
So
it's fucking Buffalo.
Yeah, it's right. It's Buffalo. So.
I think it's nicer now, though. But
I mean, I don't know that it was going to be worse, but I understand. This is an indictment on Buffalo. So
no, we're not shitting on Buffalo by any means. You went to school in Syracuse, and I'm from upstate New York, so Buffalo's Buffalo. But yeah, I mean, we don't have kids, but it's fine. You know, but I guess having life would be different with them. That's all.
It is. So I mean, time you said is a pro for not having kids. I would agree with that. I think another is. So you talk about going out of the country, right? I think vacations. So a pro of not having a big family is vacations, right? You may spend the same amount of money I do on a vacation, or probably more even, but you're doing all the shit you guys want to do.
Right.
Right. So when we go on our vacations, we're paying for Disney. Not that Disney's not awesome, but we're paying, $600 just for us to go into the park.
Disney's fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting fact. My wife and I went to a wedding. They had the wedding at Disney. So we went there as like adults, to go tour Disney. And it's cool. This is cool as shit. I mean, I think it's fantastic for kids and adults all alike and along the world. But Disney's fucking expensive. I mean, that's a huge ticket.
Yeah, it is. So that's the one thing for us. Anything's expensive, right? Because every meal, right? I mean, even a McDonald's is $30 or $40 for us. That sounds ridiculous.
It does at McDonald's,
but
when when I can buy McDonald's for my wife and I, we walk out of like $6.50.
I know. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So that's like, eating out is terrible. So when the kids are like, let's eat out, we're like, yeah. steak and shake, or something like that. Whereas, if it were just my wife and I, we'd probably go to Brio more often. Or we'd go to a Longhorn, just, hey, it's a Tuesday now, let's go to Longhorn, whatever.
Right.
Because we're not dropping $100, for a freaking dinner.
Yeah. For steak, for shakes.
Right, exactly. But I mean, talk about the pros and the cons, right? I mean, well, they got the pros of having kids is, first of all, I got built-in comedians. But you also have built-in, I mean, life is really busy for us.
Right.
So, I mean, it never stops. Even when we don't have our kids, generally anything we're going to do still at some level involves we're doing something for our kids. So, for example, we're looking for babysitters this weekend. It's my wife's birthday weekend. She wanted to go to the outlet malls. I'm like, great. So let's get a babysitter. We'll go down. We'll have a nice lunch. We'll go to the outlet mall. Then we'll get dinner when we get home. Because the outlet mall we're going to go to is like an hour and a half away. So what are we going to do at the outlet malls? She's probably going to spend 2/3 of whatever she buys on our kids. So,
well, it's funny you were saying that, and I'm thinking, my wife and I do that. We're like, we don't get a babysitter, but it's like, hey, what do you want to do today? Oh, let's go to the outlet malls. We'll go have lunch. We'll go walk around. Well, whatever. But the money we're spending is on us. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, I think I probably spend on myself $35 a year. So, I mean, I still have.
I think that was my haircut.
I mean, I wish I had hair, Dave, because now I can't even spend that. I just bought a $20 pair of clippers.
Well, that thing's gonna last you a lifetime. But what was I gonna say? There are some threads of commonality there. It's just you add kids into that mix, and that's what kind of changes the dynamic. So,
yeah. So I mean, you're right. I mean, so I guess some of the cons to having, that's one of the cons, right? We never spend money on ourselves. Honestly, at the end of the day, I know I'm bitching about my kids. Having kids is pretty sweet. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. So
yeah, no. I think sometimes it crosses my mind every now and again. It's just like, my parents are older. My in-laws are older too, and there's I don't call it an obligation to take care of them, but I feel that I should make sure they're okay and all of that, and then you look at kind of my wife and I. It's like, okay, when we are that age, who's I don't want to go to like some fucking random nurse.
Yeah, how's that going to go for you when you're 75,
yeah,
Dave?
Well, hopefully I'm in pretty good fucking shape. I'm still.
There's a pretty good chance you won't be able to wipe your own ass, Dave.
At 75? I know I'm out of shape, but I'm not that fucking out of shape.
Well, I mean, because you didn't have kids, so you're able to enjoy yourself more. So just more shit to blow out for when you're older.
Wow. Well, hopefully I'll be. It'll be like when my shit blows out. It'll be like in Spain, right? You know what I mean? And not some fucking shitty retirement home in Dublin, Ohio. Right?
Yeah, so I mean, talk about like your elder years. I guess that's something we can look forward to.
Right.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure at least 3 of my 4 kids will be willing to take care of us. So, like that is nice because, I look at, you got 4 kids. One of the cool things about our kids is they all have different personalities. So, you got the oldest who's a little bit more of a spitfire, thinks she's independent even though she's really not, pretty opinionated. We've got all that with her. Number 2 is like the immense rule follower. So we always joke I always joke with her and say she's going to be the first doctor, woman president, lacrosse coach. And she was always okay with that until now. And she's like, come on, Dad, I'm not going to be a lacrosse coach. I'm like, still going to be woman president, and I love it. So you have her where she's a little more of that nurturer as well. So she's that one So I just saw this last night. I probably wasn't even supposed to, but she wrote a schedule for what she was going to do today. And that schedule said, go to school, eat lunch, go to recess, all her normal school stuff. But then getting off the bus, she said, play with Carlisle, who's her brother, which I thought was really cool. Like, for the first half hour when I get home, I'm going to play with my brother. Then I'm going to read and do my homework. Then I'm going to play with my sister. We're going to play with our Shopkins, which is little toys or whatever. And like that, I thought that was really cool. Like she thinks in that mode. She's that more nurturer. I'll take care. She's that mother hen.
Sounds more like a nerd.
She is a nerd. And so my wife and I say that all the time. She's our cute little nerd. And but it's so sweet. So she is a nerd. So perfect example, right? We had Hurricane Florence hit last week. Didn't hit here, but hit in the Carolinas. I get up on Friday morning, or maybe it's Thursday morning, 6:30 in the morning. So I'm out there getting my stuff, and my daughter's already on the couch watching the news to tell me what was going on with the hurricane. And she's 8 years old, so she's our little nerd. But damn,
cool.
it's cute.
Yeah, it's cool.
She's smart. Like, she's one who I look at and I'm like, we're probably not going to have to worry about her when she's older. My oldest, it's like, man, we're scared to death. Then number 3, she's beautiful. So we say, like, we're pretty lucky. Thank goodness my kids look like my wife. So they're all good looking kids. I don't wish this on anybody, including me.
You're like, this is a cross I have to bear.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, you shouldn't have the scarlet letter, kids.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, she's also, she's fun. Everybody loves her. Great personality. I told you she's funny. She's another one, like, we've yet to see how she's going to be as far as maturity and responsibility. But as far as functionality, everybody loves her. And then number 4 is my only son. So you got this guy who's, he's a little bit like me in the sense of, little bit of, he's wild, a little bit of the dumpster fireness in him, so there's always going to be a little bit of me.
Right.
But he's also
there's literally half of you in all of them. So
right.
If my biology is correct.
That's right. He is 50% me, 50% my wife, and maybe 50% the mailman. I hope not the mailman.
I've never met your mailman, but
not as good looking as my wife deserves. But yeah, the little man is he's wild. He's fun though. Everybody loves his personality. He's always smiling. So it's a little bit like me. He loves to have fun and he loves to laugh at everything. So yeah,
you should have had him on the episode 1.
I think we could have him on another comedy. We'll have to bring my daughter on,
right,
and just let her kill the room.
The shit sandwich daughter.
Absolutely. What she'll say is she'll step up to the mic after I've been talking on and say, "Dad, your mic stinks." So that brings me to a funny story. So my daughter was blowing up a balloon. This was my oldest, and she said, "Dad, the air in the balloon smells awful." That's your breath. She's blowing the balloon up. Oh, what an idiot.
Oh, well.
But see, I love my kids.
Yeah, that's fine. So what's a day in the life of you and your 4 wonderful, beautiful children?
So let's flip this around a little bit. What do you think a day in the life is like? So let's do it this way, right? You give me a day in the life of what it's like with 4 kids, and then afterwards I'll do the other way and see what I think a day is like without kids.
Okay, so like, what do I think your day in life is?
Yeah, so if you flip the switch, you got 4 kids tomorrow.
Oh,
what do you think a typical day is like?
Oh, after I set the gun down,
it's filled with blanks. So
yeah,
I tricked you that way.
Yeah, thanks. Shit, man, I don't know. There's probably a lot of chaos in the house, especially with the ages pretty close. Getting up, making sure they've got all of their shit to go to school, they're dressed, they're ready to go to the bus, and then probably after they leave, it's you guys have got to go to work, so there's an angle there as well too, and then getting then you're at work all day, they're at school all day. They obviously get back before you do. Your wife works part-time, right, or something like that?
So she actually works full-time, but she's got the way she's made her schedule. She has Monday and Friday off during the week.
Oh, okay.
But then Tuesday through Thursday, she works till like 9:30.
So all right. So anyway, so that is then I'm assuming when you get home, it's you got there's dinner and feeding and homework and baths and all of that kind of fun stuff. So. I know what time you put your kids to bed, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock-ish.
Yeah.
So probably by the time it gets to mic time, it's, 9:30, 10 o'clock. So on top of it all day. And then I'm sure if you're like me, you've probably got, you fire up your laptop and maybe crunch out a couple more things before you go to bed or potentially. So that's probably what I would think how it would go. At least my sister's life is that I have a niece and a nephew. So that's kind of how they operate too. So
So you ready to sign up? Because you
No, I'm not.
So I mean, you actually hit it pretty good. So one of the tough things about that is we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So my wife and I. So yeah, we put the kids to bed 9:30. She typically gets home around 9. So our time is generally around like 10. We're late nighters, so that's actually we get a little bit of time together. It's 10 to 12. So. And like you said, yeah, if I'm on doing some work, maybe I'm doing that, or she's, shit, she just worked a full day. She wants that time to unwind and,
right.
She
wants her space.
Or, yeah, well, yeah, not as much space, but she just wants to be able to relax.
Right.
That's the good thing with us is we actually like each other. So we don't have that issue.
That usually helps regardless if you have fucking kids or not.
But like you don't have that where it's like, God, can you just get off my fucking back and give me my space? So like, when she gets home, she's ready to talk to me.
Right.
And same, if I'm home and the day she's home, I'm ready to talk to my wife. So you hit it pretty good. A couple things just to add to that, our kids are very active in sports too.
Oh yeah, that's a good. I mean, I watch parents. My cousin has 3 kids, and 2 of them are like big time lacrosse players. The 2 boys are big time lacrosse players, and the youngest daughter is now big into field hockey.
Okay.
And I remember him telling stories about, like they had like 3 goddamn calendars to fucking figure out who's going where, to the point where he's going. They had like camps and stuff, and like on Long Island.
yeah.
So he's going to Long Island. My cousin's wife is taking the daughter to some fucking field hockey camp, whatever. And then my aunt and my mother are taking the second middle child to some lacrosse camp up in the Adirondacks. So
that's what I was saying. And so are they like in the upstate? Are they upstate New York?
Yeah,
it's
all Syracuse area,
Okay.
right? But it's just, and what's funny about this is another good story. My cousin's wife's hysterical. He when they got married or whatever, I don't know how we got on the topic. I really don't. But anyway, they ended up. He said something about having 6 kids.
They planned that?
I didn't plan it. That was just.
Jeez.
It was a fucking dart they threw in the air, like 6 kids, and I think he threw it out there.
Man.
And they had their third
That's
one.
off.
They had their third one, and she's like, "I'm done. I'm done." And I said, "Well, I thought you guys were gonna have 6 kids." And she paused for a second. She looks at me. She goes, "He can have 3 more with his next wife." And I'm like, and he goes, 3 is like 6. He goes, it was just, and you have 4, so I can't even imagine. And my niece and nephew, it's just those 2, and they're all over the board. I mean, it's just it's crazy. I can't even imagine. So
it is. I mean, our house is crazy at all times. I feel like a couple things we can't do. It seems like it takes, a full day to get the house fully cleaned and how you want it. It takes 30 minutes for it to look like you just got ransacked. So, I mean, there's days we joke that if our house got robbed, they'd say, shit, they beat us to it. If the kids are playing with something in the morning and they're in a rush and they go to school without putting it away, you walk in and you're like, good God. But I mean, then again, like you said, with all the sports, we're not fully there yet. My oldest,
you got a little bit of time for that.
Yeah, but we're getting into that. So my oldest, she's getting ready to go to college, but I mean, she's always been that varsity cheerleader, varsity lacrosse player. She's a very good lacrosse player. So we've always got those things running around.
Men's or boys, or men's or women's?
Women's.
Okay.
So, but you know what? One thing that's really cool. So one of the things about being a father, right? It's terrifying when you have 3 daughters. So first of all, first of all, God's reminding me of the shit I did when I was young.
Yeah, absolutely. That is like oh, by the way, Mike, check for being an asshole as a kid. I mean, my wife says karma's a bitch.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I mean, God reminds me. I think I said this that I'm God's inside joke. God reminds me of that very often.
Last episode.
Yeah, so God definitely reminds me of that. So my oldest daughter though, but her lacrosse game is all power. So I actually can relate to her because she's also a natural athlete. Okay. So, she can roll out of bed and she might not be the best at what she does right away, but she's always going to be in the top third. just from natural ability. So, but that power game is what's so great because I can relate to her. I was a football player, football coach. So the fact that her game is so powerful, there was a lacrosse coach, a college coach who's interested in my daughter, and she was saying that.
For lacrosse, right?
Yeah, for lacrosse. Yeah, it was a lacrosse coach interested in her in basketball, actually. Jerk.
It was a basketball coach interested in lacrosse. I'm going off of that whole, what was the we're going off topic here, but that's fragmental.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. Wasn't it the gymnast, the doctor, the gymnast doctor or whatever, you know what I mean?
With the
US Olympic team.
yeah.
So that's where my head was at.
Yeah.
So.
I
And you're
hope
just like,
not.
fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean,
No.
I'm always ready to go.
And for the record, I'm not wishing that on Mike's kids at all. Just so you know, it's just
I thought we were friends, you asshole.
It's just a fucking joke, all right? It's just a joke.
So, but no, it's, but
you off
yeah,
guard
I
on
mean,
that
but to get back to it, I mean, it is, time is a premium in our household.
can
So, all right. So what do I vision a day in the life like without kids? So
Right.
keep in mind, I have not had one of these days since I was 18, 19 years old. And I'm pretty old now.
Yeah.
So I kind of envision, right, you get up, have a nice breakfast, read the paper, drink your orange juice.
Read the fucking paper?
I mean, I guess you don't read the paper. You get on your phone, right? Because I do
Yes,
that.
Mike, I open up the Columbus Dispatch, you know, the daily edition.
Well,
with
you know
my
what?
fucking smoking jacket and pipe.
Maybe my version of you is from 1989. You son of a bitch.
1920.
You didn't say. Yeah, that's right. Please show me your pipe before we leave. Oh, that's awesome. By the way, I think millennials are trying to bring pipes back.
Are they really?
Not the good kind of pipe. I mean, like the old man pipe.
Oh, so we're off topic here, but I kind of like the smell of like
it does
pipe
smell
tobacco.
good.
The pipe tobacco smells pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking millennials. They're former hipsters.
They're so anti-conformist that they're conformists.
Yeah. I love this. Like, I'm going to be completely different, so I'm going to wear the same fucking clothes as all these other fucking millennials. Excuse me?
Yeah,
You want to be different? Wear a goddamn tuxedo every day.
We're definitely going to have to come back to this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
day in the life. So get up in the morning, right? Okay.
Not read the paper, you son of a bitch. But you get on your phone, look at your ESPN or whatever it is. Shower and so you've accomplished all this, and it's 7:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I get up pretty early, 5:30 ish. So
that's pretty early. Yeah. So if I get up that early, it's usually because my kids had something.
Right.
So sleeping into us is, God forbid, I sleep till 8 or 9 o'clock. I mean, wow. So yeah, then you go to work full. There's no kids, right? So I guess I'll go to work, have my day at work. Work's over. I'm probably going to go to the gym on the way home, get a good workout in, get a shower in. I'm nice and relaxed. Go home. I can jerk off without having to look over my shoulder, which is great, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about kids busting in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
a little awkward when the dog stares at you, but
that's true. But I mean, that's I don't mind if the wife walks in. If any, you want in on this action, babe? No,
and it's
all right.
usually like, can you move? Because I need that. I need to throw that in the laundry.
Yeah, just give me 35 seconds. I'll be fine. So do that. Make dinner, eat dinner, order a nice dinner, whatever.
Right.
And I feel like solve world hunger. I've done all these things on a random Tuesday, and now it's only 7:30, 8 o'clock. What the fuck else do I do?
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
yeah, I've solved world hunger like 6 times.
Hell yeah, Dave.
Yeah, it's just like, send it. Nobody's listening though. It's like, I don't know what to do. That's why we're doing this podcast to get my message out.
So yeah, I mean, I picture there's just so much time in the morning and the afternoon, and you also get a lot of time with your wife alone. Is the way I would envision it. So you go to the gym after work and shower up and 35 seconds jerk off or whatever. But then you're going to get 3-4 hours where you guys are just doing whatever. Do you want to go to dinner? Let's talk about whatever, good conversations, not women conversations.
Yeah.
But, I feel like you'd have a lot more time alone and just to do what you guys want to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, other than me being a sarcastic dick, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's get up in the morning, like I said, 5:30. I like it quiet in the morning, so 5:30 is pretty quiet. And I'll get up. I'll make a pot of coffee, and then I do read news. It's just on my iPad. So just check. I'll read the fucking paper. Yes, I get my Wall Street Journal in the morning, shake it out. I got my little half reading glasses on, and my fucking smoking jacket, and my leather-backed chair.
It's chilly in here.
And then yes, Jeeves, I would love a fucking tonic this morning. I'm fucking Richie Rich over here.
That's right. Yeah, in my world, when you're single, it's 1945.
Yes. Driving a Studebaker
Not
to work.
single without kids, I meant, sorry.
But yeah, it's like, and it's, honey, bring the Rambler out so we can go down to the beach. Some people are gonna listen to this and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with these two?
What the fuck is a Rambler?"
Yeah, it was a Rambler. Yeah,
like no, it was a shitty car.
It was a super shitty car. But the hipsters are bringing it back.
Are they? They're bringing Ramblers?
No, I'm joking. I have no idea.
I was saying, like, an Impala never went away, but a fucking Rambler?
I just gave some hipster a fucking genius idea. Dude, we should bring the fucking Rambler back.
I had this Falcon, but fuck that, man.
I need
Let's
a
Rambler.
Nash Rambler. I think it was the Nash Rambler.
I actually almost bought one when we
Did you really?
When we lived in the ghetto, the guy across the street had one, and I thought about trying to us him down. I think he wanted 3,500, so I was going to try to us him down to 2.
That's
and then,
by the way, he stole that line from Family Guy.
I definitely stole that from Family Guy, but ended up not pulling the trigger on it, thankfully, because it was a Rambler after all.
Yeah, wow. So now I'm gonna get us back on topic, which is strange in its own right. But yeah, that's just get up, I'll have a cup of coffee in the morning. My wife's usually asleep. She sleeps in a little bit later than I do, and get up, take a shower, go to work, get into work relatively early. I've been getting into work a little bit earlier now just to get started on some things. Get done with a day, come back. If you see me, I obviously don't go to the gym, but it's come home and we usually get home about the same time every day and figure out what we want to do for dinner. And if I do have to do some extra work, I'll come into the office and get some work done. And then we watch TV or watch what's taped and chit chat about whatever. But you're kind of right. It's probably a good 5-6 hours. I'll go to bed about 10. We're both of us about 10 or 11. So
Damn.
If you're home by 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's 5-6 hours of just kind of hanging out. So
I can't imagine going to bed at 10. Like I tell that to people all the time. Like those people who go to bed at 9 and 10 o'clock, I envy the shit out of you, because by 9, 10 o'clock, I'm just now settling down.
yeah,
Like I'm just now getting that time to, now I can itch my balls because the kids aren't around. You know what I mean? Like I can finally relax. Go put on my gym shorts, whatever.
As soon as I get home and I change into like what I call my loungy clothes from work, I'm itching my balls from about 6 p.m. to about the time I go to bed.
Fuck yeah, man.
They're super soft when I'm done with them.
So I mean that's you're right, man. I mean that's I think you and I have talked about this before. Like so having a time crunch like that for us with all the kids, I don't get a lot of time with my wife. Honestly, like it's we talk again. We have some time every night where we at least talk and catch up. I mean it's not like it's we just wave by each other as we're walking through the house or anything. But we don't get a lot of time alone. We get no time alone. Even when you're in bed, I mean we sleep with the door open just in case. You got 4 kids.
In case what?
Usually it's in case my oldest tries to escape. So, I don't mean sneak out. I mean fucking escape.
You got her locked in her room.
We call it the dungeon. But no, I mean, you gotta worry about that, or maybe one of the kids wakes up in the middle of the night, or my son pisses in a trash can. I mean, whatever. You gotta keep an eye out on all that stuff. But so yeah, I mean, we don't get a lot of alone time. I mean, when we do, right? I mean, we're looking over the shoulder. I mean, at this point, I don't remember what sex is like without putting a pillow over my wife's face. So.
I don't. Is she into that? Is that the?
Oh no, it's not like we're not masochists or anything. Like it's no, it's to muffle the sound, honestly. Or it's usually to muffle the sound for me. She's actually...
She's the one on top muffling
I'm
you.
the screamer. No, I'm not. I'm actually loud. Pretty much everything. There's no way I could be the screamer.
Yeah.
Without, the neighbors would be calling the police. But yeah, I mean, we...
Wow, that's a lot more information than I was expecting.
Well, that's... Wait till where I go next, Dave. But yeah, I mean, we don't...
let me go get another drink.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of time, man. It's tough. I mean, that's... So let me ask you this, man. Is there such thing as too much time? I've never get 5-6 hours.
That's a good question. Yeah, you know what? I think there is. I think sometimes we'll talk a conversation to fucking death because we have the time to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's like maybe like working in the, like, what do we want to do with the yard? It's like, well, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. And you just fucking talk it over and over and over and over and over again. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, can we make a fucking decision and move on? And don't get me, and I'm not blaming it on like me. I mean, sometimes I'm the guy that's like, hey, I know we talked this out for fucking 4 hours, but what if we did this instead? And my wife looks at me like, we fucking spent like 4 hours talking about it. Now you want to have another 4 hours, deciding on whatever to do. So, it's nice. But we have the dogs too. So there are times where that time is playing with the dogs or maybe taking them for a walk or something like that. So there's, there are moments where it's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm bored because we got nothing going on. But we can fill it. We travel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, we had, we don't have kids, not necessarily out of choice. And one of the things I said was, hey, look, if this doesn't work out, then we'll travel. We'll go do the things that we want to do. And when we can. And, obviously a lot of that's financial. So, I told my wife earlier that we're going to probably talk about kids tonight. And, she goes, man, we should have a ton of disposable income. And I'm like, yeah, we don't fucking have disposable income because we're buying stupid shit and we're going to dinners and we're traveling. And, when it's the how do I want to say this? We could just sit at home and just bank the fuck out of everything and have a shitty kind of sequestered life in this house. But fucking enjoy it. When it's funny because my sister and brother-in-law, they don't have kids either. And we had a not a long kind of topic on it, but they have it kind of worked out where, and they travel the world. They do way more fucking traveling than I think anybody ever did. We actually, as much traveling, people are always amazed at me because they're like, you've been to India and you've been to Ireland and you've been to Italy and I guess I've been to all the I countries. But they put us to shame. I mean, they literally put us to shame. Russia and Galapagos and Africa and all of that. So, but they're trying to figure out how when they get to the point where they're going to be like in a home or getting ready to die, that they've got like no money left because they don't want to fucking leave it to anybody. I'm just pissing it all the way right now. So when I get to that point, there's nothing really there. I don't have to worry about millions of dollars. I can just here's my $40. Just throw me in that hole over there.
Good luck.
I'll be good. So, but it's you. Sometimes you gotta. I feel like we struggle to find time to do things, and it's almost overwhelming sometimes because there's so much that you could do. You know what I mean? The city we live in has a ton of stuff going on, so there's all of that to do. So. It sometimes it's like paralysis, what I mean, whatever they call it. Where you've got so much to do that you just get frozen in, like indecision, so to speak. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, so some of the same things, right? I mean, as far as we don't have disposable income either, but that's because we're just fucking broke because all our kids. Because my wife and I mean, we've talked about that. Like, how are we so fucking broke? Like, our parents made a lot less than we did, and I feel like did a lot more with it.
I think sometimes if we had kids, I don't know how my parents did it. My dad was a truck driver. My mother was like a secretary admin type thing, and I don't know how they fucking did it. And I never felt it. I mean, I mean, when you get into high school, things change a little bit, but food on the table, clothes on my back, and warm house. You know what I mean? Just I today, I'd have to make 8 times what I fucking make to feel comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for us, it was kind of the same way. Like, I don't remember ever struggling for anything. Don't get me wrong, I didn't have everything,
Right,
by any means.
Same.
But I mean, but just like you said, I mean, my stepdad was a carpenter. Worked for a company, just building pizza cases and just doing all kinds of things with wood. My mom worked for the same company. She was like a production control manager. They made a good living, but it's not like, again, I make more.
right.
And but yeah, it felt like we were never struggling, and they always seemed to, I don't know if they managed it better than I do. Maybe that says more about me. I don't know, but I mean, they worked their asses off, and I think they did a decent job of raising us. I mean, I'm an asshole. My brother's pretty cool, but
Well, there's that 50-50 shot, Mike. But it's different. I mean, it was like today. I look at my niece. She's 9. And it's like she has like softball league and travel league. And when I was 9, I was like riding my bike in the fucking yard. I mean, I didn't have travel league, and my nephew's doing. He's not like some other traveling league, and they're and this is my observation, and you have kids who can tell me, but there's just more emphasis on like getting them into a sport or getting them into something, and that requires time, money, everything else. So today's like when you and I were growing up, it was like, hey, what are we gonna do in the summer? You're gonna just fucking go outside while I go to work, and you go figure that shit out.
Ride bikes and eat bologna for lunch.
Yeah, absolutely. Today it's like you've got travel leagues, and you got camps, and you've got it's just everybody's looking and this. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to change the subject a little bit here. But, every kid they're all looking for the next Tiger Woods, right? You want to be the next, I forgot his dad's name now. Earl. Everybody wants to be the next Earl Woods, which goes to like, so that's my opinion of kind of parenting today. So that I always question, this question always comes up in my head, like, well, I don't have kids, but I feel like, if I'm looking at that asshole kid in Italy, I mean, I'm okay with going, hey, get your fucking kid under control.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I know there are people out there that are just like, no, you don't understand. You don't have kids. You can't say that. If your fucking kid's an asshole, your kid's an asshole. I'm an asshole. People's going to tell me I'm a fucking asshole. I'm going to tell your kid's not an asshole. Let me back this up. Your kid's being an asshole. Let's put it that way. Do something about discipline your kid.
So you're not wrong, even though I have a mess of kids.
Right.
I don't think you're wrong to say that. I mean, it's especially because if that kid's being an asshole, he's running and kicking your bags over and running around you guys and pissing you off because you can't read or have a decent conversation with your wife.
Right.
You went on vacation with your whole family. You're at the airport, you get a few minutes alone with your wife and you just want to talk. So no, you're okay to do that. I never have a problem with it. There are those parents out there. My generation as parents are pussies. All right, I'm going to be honest with you, because everything is my kid needs a trophy, and my kid needs 2 parents, and
and they need to match.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? My parents didn't give a shit if my socks match. Yeah, they did actually, but
right.
But no, I mean, I think right now everything has to be perfect, and everybody has to feel the same way, and you can't eat peanuts, and sandwiches can't be delicious, and it's just so fucking stupid now. And I think my generation's the beginning of it, truthfully. I mean, I still know people who live at home. I'm in my late 30s. And you're like, you still live in your parents' basement, dude. Like, it's not basketball.
Yeah, no kidding.
Living at home playing Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, but no, I think it's fine for you guys. I mean, I think honestly, kids need to be disciplined. That doesn't mean they need to be beat the shit out of them.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not advocating
and
that
you,
at all.
You didn't say that.
No, right.
But so I've got no problem if my kid is being an asshole. I don't mind that somebody says, "Hey, do you mind calming down?" Or
And that's where I'm going with that. It's just kind of like, hey, get your kid under control, because I think he's running around here, and we just got in. This sounds so fucking elitist, but we were just coming back from France, and we were in JFK, and
you didn't say France at least, so you're good.
France, yeah, I did. I'm still American. No, we just got back from another trip in Europe, and we're in JFK, and we're 8. How far was that fucking flight from London? 6 hours, 6 hours, something.
Too fucking long, honestly.
I don't know.
But it's fine.
It's like 6-7 hours from London to JFK before we got home, and I've already been in the plane for 5-6 hours already at this point. And we got another hour and a half to go, and there's 2 kids, and they're not just one of them had to be close to 10 or 12, I would guess, and the other one was a little bit younger, probably 5-6. And they're chasing each other, not like where they were sitting, but around the fucking gate.
Yeah.
Like and where we were at JFK, it was like 4 or 5 gates are there. So there's all the the house set up, and they're like running down and around in the back, and they're kind of screaming. And I'm like, how do you, as parents, how do you not look at that and be like, hey, sit your fucking ass down?
Oh yeah, I would definitely say that. And
yeah.
So those parents, truthfully, were probably just like, fuck it, I don't have the energy for this shit. And that's wrong. First of all, it's your responsibility. You have the kids, you need to parent them.
Right.
But no, I agree with you. I mean, discipline the kids, make them sit down. I mean, I'm a little bit old school. My kids still, this is Mr. and Mrs. such and such. This is Coach such and such.
Right.
This is, I still believe in that, and believe it or not. So I asked to get the water, right? At your house, I asked your wife, you mind if I grab a water? She says, you don't have to ask. I'm like, well, I ask at my house. I ask when I go back to see my mom.
Right.
I'm like, hey, Mom, do you mind if I grab a water? And she's like, I mean, you lived here. Get some fucking water.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know, but it's you paid for it. This is your water. Right. I wouldn't ask to drink from the sink, but even though you do pay for that, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I have enough respect for that. And that's how I try to teach my kids to be.
Right.
But you can only teach your kids so far. That's one thing I can say that's been a little heartbreaking to me is, so my oldest daughter, she's a very good athlete. She's super smart. She can read people, which is a skill I didn't learn until I was well into my 20s. So, I mean, people who can read people at that age either do some extremely great things, but they can also do that for some really bad things. Not that she's doing the really bad things or anything, but she's, at the same time, she doesn't have the level of manners that we did or some of those things.
Right.
And we've instilled that in her. So as a parent, it's really frustrating. I'm like, God, I'm a failure. And they're like, why do you think you're a failure? And I'm like, oh, because my daughter, this, whatever. They're like, you can only show them.
You can only do, and this. I mean, I look at it today, and I think, that it's like you work on it, you discipline, you do your things, and at some point, they gotta learn to stand.
Yeah.
And if they don't understand, it's not like you didn't try. It'd be different if you just like fucking let her do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
And she turns out to be a piece of shit, and you're like, well, you didn't really try, so that's what happens.
Yeah.
But you see that today. I mean, you can see some of that stuff today. But if you're, I mean, from what and I know you, and you're super polite, and I'm sure you and I have some similar sensibilities. I'm sure you're telling your kids that stuff, and
oh yeah.
And if they don't do that, I don't think it's a failure on your part. I think it's like, oh, okay, I did everything I could do. They're just not owning it up, and it goes back to, I think it doesn't go back to, but it lends on today of like everybody gets a fucking trophy. It's like, hey, take ownership of the fact that you didn't play well, or maybe you're not that good, or maybe, you know what I mean? That's when you start bringing that sense in of, well, hey, you played in the game, here's your trophy for playing in the game. Then you lose, in my opinion, you lose that. You're never wrong at that point.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, I should get one. I attempted it. Yeah, you attempted it. That's fucking fantastic. But you didn't make it. And the trophy goes to the guys who make it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm much older now, and even I still, like, when I don't get stuff, I'm like, well, that's bullshit. I should have got it. And then the little voice in my head is like, well, did you work hard enough?
Yeah.
Did they work harder than you? Are you not that good? You know what I mean? And I don't want to make it sound negative, but there are people that are more talented than other people. Michael Jordan's way more talented than fucking Muggsy Bogues or I don't know. That's a
great 1987 reference.
Yeah, thanks.
Early 90s, but
yeah.
no, but exactly.
I'm the one that brought in the fucking Nash Rambler, so where else was I gonna go?
But you're right. I mean, and that's one thing we're big on because that's how we were raised, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was very much that you bring your lunchbox to work, you work your butt off. So I mean, I got the working gene. My brother had the working gene. My brother was naturally gifted. I wasn't gifted. So yeah, I mean, it still goes to that. It's that the kids nowadays, I think, don't have that gene of just I got to work harder, and that's what I try to teach to my kids. My 8-year-old does have it, and that's one thing I can't wait to see her as she's getting older.
See, and that's the thing too that we're circling back to the kind of the pro and con. There's a sense of, I mean, like waiting to watch for your daughter to do that. I mean, there's that excitement of what is this going to look like. I don't have that, and it's not so much do you miss it or not miss it. It's like and maybe it's some practicality in my history, but it's kind of like I try not to. For me anyway, it's kind of like it's not like I don't wish that I had that or whatever. It's like, okay, this didn't happen, so I don't think that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that. It's not. And kudos. I mean, I have friends with great kids. I mean, they're awesome. But I struggle with kids though too. It's just like because I don't care what age they are. I treat them like I'm talking to you. Yeah, which is a fucking problem because people.
Well, sometimes kids are just growing up way too fucking fast.
Yeah, that's the other. So. Yeah, absolutely. So and it's probably me that's helping.
Honestly, I don't. I'm not going to get on my soapbox here. I think a lot of it's the social media, to be honest with you. But now I'm the old man that's shaking his fist. But but yeah,
I'm the old man with a Nash Rambler in the yard.
Fucking Rambler. But you're right. I mean, that's at the end of the day, the pros and the cons. I mean, the biggest pro is I can't wait to see my kids as adults.
Right.
I'm gonna have all these great memories. I hope. I'm gonna have all these great memories of the things they did as a kid. Eating shit sandwiches. Telling your sister that your oldest sister pisses you off. The kids are hilarious that way, but there's nothing better than, my oldest daughter, she's got tournaments coming up for fall lacrosse. Nothing better than seeing her put together a 5-goal game and, another coach coming up to you, and saying like, man, she's got a hell of a shot. She does. My daughter actually has one of the hardest shots in Central Ohio.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean that's you love those things, and then I can't wait to see them when they're a little older. That's because right now I'm big on it's not my job to be their friend right now. It's my job to be their dad. I'll be their friend when they're in their 20s and 30s. So I am looking forward to that one.
You don't want to be Kris Jenner?
No, fuck Kris Jenner, man. I can't. Kris Jenner. As a matter of fact, I hate Kris Jenner. Not quite as bad as I hate Kathy Griffin, but I cannot stand Kris Jenner. I think she's a leech that just milks her kids, and I don't know how she looks at herself in the mirror. To be completely honest with you.
That diamond encrusted mirror of hers.
Right. Maybe it's all about the money. It's not about the money to me. I mean, I'm not going to exploit my own kids just so I can continue to live a wealthy lifestyle. I mean, that's not worth it to me. I always tell my kids I had my glory days. So when I'm talking to my oldest, that's the one thing I'm not one of those parents that's living through my kid. Oh, you got to do this so you can get recruited and you can do this. I had my glory days. I had some colleges that were interested in me. Not a ton, but I had some. So it was okay. I'm perfectly happy with the way my life went. Even having a kid when I was 18. I wouldn't be who I am without it.
Right.
So,
it definitely shapes you. So.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've always been an asshole. I think it just ingrained it in me. But no, I mean, it's good stuff, man. I can't, like I said, I can't wait to see him grown up. And honestly, when my son's a little bit older, I can't wait to tell the same dirty jokes to my son that I'm telling you on these podcasts. I mean, I think that stuff's going to be fun
because they're still classics. They'd still be classics.
That's right. Harvey Weinstein's going to be a great punchline from here on out.
Yeah, even if it's not, you're going to make sure everybody's aware of it. So
yeah, and it's fucking funny.
It's fucking funny. Looking back, I guess for us, it's just, it's kind of, this is sound awful. Hopefully my wife doesn't listen to this, but it's like, it'll be like Up. You just look back and we've got that photo album of all of the great things we did. So,
yeah.
So I don't know. It's I don't want to end on a sad note. It seems kind of, I'm bringing fucking Debbie Downer over here, but
well, yeah. Now gonna float away in my house.
Yeah, tie balloons this motherfucker, and I'm out. No, but it's like we each. They're two separate paths, but there's pros and cons to both, and there's pros and cons to everything. So we're not. This isn't. They don't have a lock on this by any means, but you've got your kind of like this is your life and kind of what was not, I don't want to say dealt, but kind of how you've shaped it.
Yeah.
And this is this is my life and how it was shaped. And you maximize that to the best of your abilities. So,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't change it for anything, right? I mean, would it be nice to be able to do this? Would it be nice to be able to,
absolutely.
Would it be nice to go to Europe? Would it be nice to, and I'm sure, vice versa. You say that, you'd probably love to sit and watch that lacrosse game and things like that. But no, I wouldn't change it for for anything. I mean, it's, like I said, I am who I am because of, the cards I've been dealt or whatever, however you want to put it, the what we've molded it into. And, I mean, I'm pretty proud of the person I've ended up and, that I am. So if I shouldn't say ended up with, I hope I got a long way to go. But,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I think the kids have made me that, and they've made me better, to be honest with you. I mean, I know the younger version of me, I was pretty smart, always, I think it was funny, always had a good personality, but, I also I could be dared to jump off of stuff. I could, I think having kids kept me from, maybe you should rethink that. Not every hot tub should be you should be landing in hot tubs off of roofs. I don't know that that's the best thing I would want to remember for my life.
Yeah. So, I think we covered it, don't you? Or
yeah. So, check us out on WordPress, on fragmental.co. Check us out on iTunes. We're legit now.
Yep.
So thanks to Dave, we are Real Deal Holyfield. So check us out on iTunes. Look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thanks again.
Yeah, and if you're out there in the comment section, give us some ideas. Give us some topics if you want to hear some random shit being spewed by Mike and Dave. So appreciate it. Thanks Mike.
Guys.